Yo, this is Aziza Nubia, and thank you for checking out Natural Mamas My Way. I think I said that right. Is it Natural Birth My Way, Natural Mama My Way? I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Blaming it on the pregnancy. All right. So, let's get into what we're talking about today. So, today I wanted to share with you guys my personal pros and cons between hospital birth and home birth. Okay, I have experienced both kinds of birth: hospital birth, home birth. I have had a hospital birth on pitocin. I've had a hospital birth with an epidural, and I've had a birth in the hospital all natural, and then I've also had a home birth. And so I love the home birth experience more so than the hospital experience. And just because that is my preference, I'm not going to try to persuade you into doing home birth. I just want to give you as much information based off my experience on the pros and cons and what's going to be the best choice for you. Now, one thing that I loved about my home birth experience was the fact that I was at home. I was around my stuff. I was in my bed in my pajamas. I had more control over the environment, which made me relax more, and helped me prepare for birth more. And I feel like it made the birthing process a bit easier, because sometimes when you have hospital births, you can't really control the environment. It's a lot of noise. You get interruption for the nurses. You're always getting checked and all that kind of stuff. And so I really love the fact that I was able to be in control of my environment during my home birth. Now, with a hospital birth, like I said, you really don't have too much control over the environment, but you do have access to certain items and things in case there was an emergency. So if you are thinking about doing a home birth, make sure that you are in a good space with the pregnancy, that you're not high risk, that you're taking care of yourself, and that you do have to prepare, because if something did go wrong, it is better to be in the hospital, but you also do prepare for things to go wrong with the home birth, making sure that you to get to that hospital easily, and making sure that you're working with trained professionals. Okay. One thing, home birth versus hospital birth is you don't have a lot of medical intervention when you're doing a home birth, and I tell women this all the time. Our bodies were made to give birth. We are women. That's one of our roles here on this planet. We don't really need that much intervention to give birth, and technically you don't really need to be checked. This is not medical advice, but I believe that you really don't need to be checked over and over and over to see how far you dilated, because when it's really time for you to push, your body's going to automatically start pushing. Like, you're going to know when the baby's coming. And so with the home birth, you don't have a lot of intervention. Your midwives, everything. Birth is patient. It shouldn't be rushed. And when you're at a hospital, they seem to rush you. You're on a time constraint. You can't be in labor no more than this once you get a certain dilated phase. If it takes too long, they want to intervene to make it go quicker, not because something is wrong, but 9 times out of 10 is because they got to clear beds. Because you got to remember, hospital births is still a business. All right, so when you're at a home birth, you have time. As long as everything's going good, as long as the mother is fine and the baby's healthy, you have time to give birth. You're not being rushed. You're allowing the full essence of the experience to take place. And so that's one thing you got to think about. Now, in hospitals, you can birth with a midwife in a hospital, and you can have a doula in a hospital, just as you can with a home birth. Okay, so those things are good, and I'll always encourage women to, if have baby, choose midwives, hire doulas, because they help you get support, because support is super important when it comes to pregnancy and when it comes to giving birth. Okay. One thing about I would say the biggest thing that I loved about my home birth experience versus the hospital birth experience is that, after you have the baby in a hospital, you go to a postpartum room to recover, then you have to get up and go home. That's cool. But after I had the baby at home, I got to go in my bed. I was already at home. I already had my foods. You know, my midwife did come and check on me and the baby, but it, you know, and everything was fine, but I was able to be at home, and that made my recovery process so much faster. Like, I got the best sleep, and the baby was already adjusted to what home life is going to be about, because sometimes when you have babies, you know, it takes them a while to get their energy vibration adjusted to home. You know, it just gets crazy. So it's easier to be able to already be at home, give birth to the baby. Are you already there with your things? You're not always being nodded and prodded and all these kind of things. I just really love that experience. Like I said, home birth and hospital births, they're very different. You know, they're very, very different, and it's all about what choice you want to make. What kind of birth do you want to have? You have a choice in how you want to give birth. All right, you set the experience, but know when you are birthing in a hospital, you do have other forces at play that may try to control your birth. And so that's where you have to be very educated and very knowledgeable on what your rights are as a patient, and making sure that the hospital team is working for you because they're providing you a service. It's not the other way around. So you got to always remember that. But you can have an amazing birth experience at a hospital, and you can have an amazing birth experience at home. It's all about what you feel comfortable in. A lot of women are afraid to have births at home because they are afraid of something may happen. But if you're working with a trained professional, and if you're healthy, understand that your body naturally knows what to do. I'm not advocating or telling anybody to do this, but if it was down to it, you could deliver a baby yourself, because your body is going to know when it's time to push. The baby knows when it's time to go out. So it's all about trusting yourself and trusting your body and trusting the process. All right. So, you know, I'm pro home birth. I have nothing against hospital births. My children are birthed in a hospital. Those experiences were what they were, but I definitely love the home birth experience. I think it's more personal, and it just feels really, really great. So I'm super excited about me having another home birth. Just got to keep them blood pressure levels down. So it can happen. So that means I need to take it easy because I've been traveling and doing a lot of other things. But those are some of my pros and cons between home birth and hospital birth. If you have any questions or have any suggestions or ideas for content pertaining to birth, pregnancy, and parenting, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment box. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video. Also, download the Natural Woman magazine. Go to www.asknaturalwoman.com or type in Natural Woman magazine in your Google Play Store or Apple Store. But this is Aziza Nubia. I hope you enjoyed this little video. Until next time, peace.